Hello and welcome to Beats, Beds, and Browns. I'm Joe Skibby. I'm excited here to have Constant L Burts with us today.
Yeah.
Emerging artist from the Northwest Indiana, Chicagoland region, which we focus on. And today we're going to be covering everything from birth to life to legacy and everything in between. So with that, I'm going to introduce Constant L Burts and just start launching into questions. That sound good with you?
Y'all know what it is. Your boy CLB, Constant L Burts from the Windy City. Shout out to Rantoul. Rantoul's also my stomping ground, but Windy City where it's at. Man, I'm happy to be here, man.
Nice, and we're happy to have you. We're originally from Illinois and transplants to Northwest Indiana, so we're good to see we're just like a suburb of Chicago.
Yeah, man. Yeah, right.
So let's jump right into it. Talk about life and family. Tell me, you're from Chicago. Tell me where.
Originally from 35th and Cottage Grove. Call it the low end. Back in Chicago. As I got a little older, my mom moved over like off 87th and State, like kind of by the Dan Ryan. So between the low end of 35th and Cottage Grove with 87 is pretty much where I grew up on. Obviously a lot of friends and people I did music with, most of them stayed in Inglewood, so I was in Inglewood a lot too. So other than that, I was just any typical city kid, trying to make it out. So
I'm trying to make it out. That's what we're going to touch on a little bit. Is talk to me about your community. Things that you saw growing up, things that were opportunities to be beneficial to the community, things that were troublesome in the community, and just tell me a little bit about you and your history.
My mom, she, as I'm older now, I can honestly say she did a solid job, trying to keep me and my sister in a neighborhood, a good neighborhood, the best of her ability, but in Chicago. So,
shout out to the single moms out there. I was raised by a single mom too, and strong and proud. You bet.
Man, she made life. As you get older, you realize you were struggling a little bit, but you don't realize that till you get older. Being young, my mom
but
never made it seem.
Normal.
Yeah, she never made it seem like we were struggling. We still did everything. Other kids, they're like, we went on trips, like to Disney World and, stuff like that. And, but, as you never understood, what your parents went through, what they had to do, to provide that lifestyle. So, she did do her best to try to, keep us in a safe environment. But, the Chicago, it is what it is in the streets. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. My dad, he stayed like 2 hours away in Rantoul, Illinois. And not saying that he wasn't, active, it's that I didn't get those opportunities to see him like every day, like, what I'm saying? Sure. So a lot of things, I went through coming up as a kid, as a man, there's some things that I really had to learn on my own, what I'm saying? And the surrounding, I didn't always have the best influence according to the camera eye. But there was the role models that I had. Like
some people show you how not to live.
Exactly.
Right? And if you can be in the moment and learn that lesson, that's just as powerful as somebody showing you the right way to live. Yeah.
And so between that and also going out to visit my dad, like on vacations and holidays and things like that. I did stay out there with him at one point. That wasn't until I got a little older. But in Chicago, I did what most typical young men at that time went through.
Sure.
I had my fun. I did some dumb stuff, and I learned some lessons. So
before social media was around, right?
Before social media was around, right?
For that. No doubt.
Yeah.
What about, so you said you visited, spent some time in Rantoul. Rantoul is a little bit more of a rural community, is that correct?
Yeah, it's like, nobody never really know where it's at. It's like 15 minutes away from Champaign. Yeah. So a lot of people, I'm like, Rantoul, and they be like, huh? I'm like, you know where Champaign is? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. You probably passed right through it, didn't even know.
Yeah, don't even know it. So as you know, Rantoul, old military base. Yeah. Now that living out there was unique because I'm literally going from the hood to, like I said, a rural area's country. I'm seeing stuff I never saw in front of me, I had like tractors and like farms and like.
Was it did you have friends that connected you to that warmly, or was it a big obstacle to have an understanding of that and it was just kind of stayed on the outside peripheral of it?
It was rough in the beginning. I moved out there. It was the first time I ever experienced racism, like ever. My life, and especially that up close. So, and at the time, as I got older, Rantoul, it was getting a little more diverse. But at the time, like when I was at that age, it wasn't as diverse, as it is now. So when you coming from the hood, where your problem really is just police, gangs, drugs, and not saying this in a bragging way, but that was a norm. That was something I was comfortable with. Like, somebody laying out on the streets from getting popped, or seeing a whole fight brawl break out, that was my norm. Now coming out here, coming to Rantoul, where it's just like, okay, you have new set of problems, but it's not, what you're used to. Walking through the hood, dangerous zones, I'm comfortable with that. But like going out there and then you seeing racism stuff you only seen on TV, like right in front of you, you don't know how to react. It's like, okay, well.
Yeah, now what?
So now what? In the hood, we handle situation this, but those type of situations, I ain't know how to handle. And then you also have to be smart,
And what age bracket was this? Was it like junior high, high school, or before that?
When it says going into like my freshman year.
So now, like, there aren't any other social problems going on at that time, hormones be kicking, getting girls and interested in girls and sports and everything else. Man.
But like any other place, it's you learn to adapt. There's no. I'm be honest. In my opinion, there's no safe zone anywhere. Like Absolutely. What I'm saying. I don't care how much money you have, whether you're rich, you poor. It's danger everywhere. So it living that diverse lifestyle taught me not to underestimate any environment, anyone, any situation, none whatsoever.
Sure. I mean, you gotta assimilate no matter where you're at, right? And there's going to be areas that are safer based on internal and external factors than others, and it's never good when you have to go through those things. But it doesn't kill you; it makes you stronger.
Exactly. Yeah. Every scar is a blessing.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I'm going to use that, man. When did you end up coming back to Chicago?
Literally right after I graduated. I had one of those dads where my dad he was always focused. That's one thing I always learned from him. Saying stay focused, whatever you want to do. I don't care what it is that you do, just be the best at it. Don't half-ass it.
Nice.
And that was my father. So when I graduated, and he knew at that time my drive for music was really kicking in. Like at this point, like I'm in tune with myself. So you fostered
that through high school, in Rantoul, and still stayed in touch. Did you go back and forth to Chicago?
Literally, honestly, it started back in Chicago before we get to Rantoul, because I was one of those young kids in Chicago that was getting known for battle rapping. So that's how I started off. Nice. I didn't know how to write songs. I didn't know anything about studio etiquette.
Just off the tip.
I got on just by straight up humiliating you. You take an angry kid from the hood, and he got all this aggression in him, and I found something where I could let that out, and it didn't, involve me having to go to jail doing it. You know what I'm saying? And I used to do it for fun, with a lot of, friends I had around that time. But then, when it started getting serious, when people started like, hey, start talking about you, things like that. And then I discovered the money side of it. And I was like, man, it's like drug money. I go up here and battle this dude for X amount of money, and I make bands in 30 minutes at the most. So it became real addictive, and so that's where it really started at.
So fill me in a little bit on that, and definitely share with our viewers. I'm a hip hop fan. I know the studio. I know the tapes and CDs. Yeah. I know a couple concerts. I've never been in a battle rap scenario. I imagine that is intense, and there's a threat of violence just waiting to be sparked.
Oh man, yeah. Man, what you say could trigger somebody. It was always some violence.
Sure, there's always an off-topic subject, and you hit that button, and it's on.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every rapper that was like really into it, like the battle rap, they experienced some type of violence at some point. I remember getting my first, you know what I'm saying, sucker punch, you know what I'm saying, in the middle, you know, of a rap battle. But at the same time, that was me though. Like that pain, like that anger, that violence, like I enjoyed that. To me, that was. To me, in a weird way, it's an accomplishment. It's like, man, I got under your skin that bad. You ready to throw hands? Yeah. Or you ready to draw your gun? I'm like, oof, that's when I realized I was good. I was like, man, words are really powerful. Like, Absolutely. This is the toughest dude in the hood walking around, and I just made this man whole character fold with words. And that's when I realized how powerful, you know what I'm saying, what I was doing. So, you know, with that being said, I started changing my mindset, like, you know what I'm saying, how I look at things. Met DJ Showtime, one of the biggest DJs in Chicago. He met me and he kind of he guided me. You know, he brought me into the studio first time. Mm-hmm. He showed me how to write songs. He's like, I know you can rap, but can you write a hit record? And I'm like, man, fuck a hit record, boy. I'm out here eating everybody up. What you talking about? And
I want the bands in 30 seconds.
Yeah, man. You know, like broke man mentality. He's like, yeah, that's cool and all. You know what I'm saying? That's cool and all. You want to be famous on this side of Chicago. We're like, but this side don't know you. This side don't know you. This state don't know you. Hell, it's few people out the streets that still don't know you. So, you know what I'm saying? He humbled me real quick. And I would have never thought, like, you know what I'm saying, starting writing songs and opening up my mind, listening to other different types of songs besides just hip hop and things like that I was going to develop this addiction. You know what I'm saying? And to the point I would stop battle rapping. Like, a lot of people ask me now would I still do it, and it'll be kind of hard because that drive I used to have for it is, you know, no longer there.
Well, it's a different skill set. The aggression you needed to be successful there has to be toned down to be successful in a studio or in a performance. You can't serve all masters. You got to pick which path you're going to take.
Yeah. And I became much of a softie now. Like, you know, back then I was young, hot-headed. You know, so, you know, it was just a lot of anger. So, you know, battle rapping was perfect for me. As a grown man now, you know what I'm saying, as a father, like the idea of using my energy to do that it's not even exciting to me no more.
To bring someone else down.
Yeah, you know, rather, and don't get me wrong, like at the end of the day, everybody who battle rap, they understand it's nothing personal. You know what I'm saying? You'll literally just get done talking about this dude dead mama. And you knew his mama. She fed you and everything. But, hey, bro, when it's face to face and there's money on the line, we not friends no more. Yeah. All that is out the window. You know what you signed up for. And so with that mentality being said, we all knew what we was getting ourselves into. And, you know, 9 times out of 10, it was a hug, you know what I'm saying, afterwards, like, yo, we good, we straight. Or sometimes it was, like we said earlier.
Just like a UFC
a whole fighter breakout, somebody will just...
This is about the skill. Now,
exactly.
This is about going back to the gym and
it's it was something that I definitely enjoyed doing at the time, but I'm be honest, I don't think I could like fully get back into it.
Big deals, big risk, big meals. Niggas fake, beat the sign and stay still. Get the bag, get the fuck up out your field. Secure your credit, get a team and close deals. Get the strap.
So you mentioned fatherhood.
Yeah.
How old is your son? And talk to me a little bit about how fatherhood has changed your game.
Man, he's 6. And I was one of those individuals where I wasn't like, oh, I want kids and, you know, things like that. I wasn't against having any, but, you know what I'm saying, nor did I ever show interest.
You were waiting for the quote-unquote right time, right?
I wasn't even waiting for a right time. I was just living life, you know what I'm saying? I was just, like, kids wasn't even a thought process in my life, in my head, none whatsoever. The young lady I met and fell in love with, because at least I can say, you know, it's, you know, granted we're not together, but it wasn't a fling type thing. You know, it was someone I was, you know, actually in love with at the time, you know, thought we were engaged, you know, I wasn't planning on starting over. That wasn't the game plan. However, I still remember when she gave me a phone call. Dog, I was working at Crown Plaza Hotel, Union Station.
Okay.
In Indianapolis. My boss at the time, Jordan Armstrong, I was working the front desk. I was a front desk agent. Yeah. And he came from the back. He said, hey, you got a phone call. You know, your fiance. I said, okay, you know, I don't think something's wrong. And I'm at work. It's sold out. We're stressed. Sure. We're being yelled at. We're being cussed at.
That's the right time for a
You know what I'm saying? And like, you know, then here I am, mind discombobulated. I get on the phone. I'm like, hey. She's like, she just rips the Band-Aid off. Like, you know, not how's work doing? And she goes, I'm pregnant. And next thing you know, I wake up to my boss doing it.
Did you really pass out?
I was out.
I got a little bit of wah.
As cliche as it sounds, I was out. It was just like my knees just buckled.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, in my head, I was like, what'd she just say? Like, oh no. Like, and then I had to go out there to a sold out hotel.
You put your work face
and put my work face back on, knowing I just heard that I'm finna be a kid with just whole life flashed in front of me. So it was like, sheesh. But you know, I wouldn't trade anything for the world, man. Like he's definitely made me a better person, made me more humble. More importantly, made me discipline myself. You know, hold myself accountable to a lot more. Which, to be honest, that was something that I struggled with before I became a father. You know, I can't say I was. It's everybody's fault, not my fault. It was more just I did what I did. I don't care. No remorse.
Right.
No type of feeling. None whatsoever. Then you get this kid, and all of a sudden he or she taps different side emotions in you, and now you go do something that you normally do. You sit and think about it. You be like, oh, that was kind of fucked up. I shouldn't have did that.
Sure.
Like,
What's little man gonna
like? What little man go do it? Like, how I respond if I saw him do this? So you know, in that way, he definitely made me grow up mentally, becoming a father.
Trust my fucking word, it go a long way. That's my nigga, man. I fuck with him a long way. I don't want a short, 'cause
In the long way video, you're playing some games with your son. What system is that, and what game are you playing?
That was
I'm assuming that was your son.
No, that was actually not my son. That was actually my nephew.
Okay.
My nephew Daniel. I always wanted to, you know, go back home and just do something like with the family. And it's so funny because me and my close friend, my videographer, Video by Des.
Shout out to Des, yeah.
We were sitting there talking, and you know, Des, he has a lot of times when we post these videos, you know, his mindset is more like movie and, you know,
more theatrical,
you know, things like that. You know what I'm saying? And with this one, with Long Way, it gave me. I'm not gonna fabricate. It gave me that Chicago summertime vibe when I was working on the song. All the thing I saw was being back in the hood, being back with the family, you know what I'm saying, just having a good time. So it was like one of those videos where we didn't do a lot when it came to the storyboard for this one, and it ended up turning out exactly, you know, how we both wanted to be. And I think just because simply I had my family there. You know, that was my sister in the end of the video, kicking us out. You know, it was like having my nephew, like everyone you saw in there was just literally my family. So that's what made that video more fun and special.
I feel that in watching it. It just comes across natural. None of it's forced. None of it's
exactly. It, like everything you saw in that video was every day. Like that was not scripted. It wasn't, hey, you know what I'm saying? Even at the end, which, you know, probably been the most, you know, scripted that we did for that video, but even still, that's normal. Me partying at my sister's house, you know, with the fellas, and she coming in and kicking us out. That's normal. Like,
yeah, and is that a regular occurrence? You get back with the old guys, you connect at mom's house.
As much as I can. Right. Obviously, I don't get to as a lot as I want to. A lot of times, it's a come and go. You know, I'm booked for a show, or you know, whatever I got to do, and I got to get on to the next. You know, where else I got scheduled. But for the most part, if I do got time, some of them.
Well, sure. I find the older we get and the less we're at mom's or the less we're hanging out with friends is those times when they come together, they're just magical. Yeah. Like, it takes you back 15 years and everything feels right again. Yeah. And whatever's bothering you, whatever's troubling you at work or at home, it just melts away.
To tap back into your roots, you know what I'm saying? Just kind of remember who you are, where you came from. Yeah. So it's, I tell people all the time, like, we got dreams and, you know, we got ambition, we got a lot of things we want to accomplish. And the one thing I realized so far is that I've really been taking time for granted when it comes to spending time with family, things like that. And, you know, especially now when everything's been new, up and on the rise, and I got so many expectations right now at the moment. So I have those days where I just like, man, I just want to kick it with Mom Dukes. You know what I'm saying? Eat some soul food and irritate her for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I want to go bug my sis. You know, I want to just turn my phone off, sit with my son, and not absolutely do nothing. Yeah. You know, so it's a lot of things I'm experiencing now. I realize how much I've been taking for granted when it comes to that subject. So I've been trying to get better about that.
Well, and not, trying to hustle to grow the performer thing, be an entertainer, that's traveling, that's nights away. Like, you got to cherish every moment.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like Donsky said, it's you. This is the part where you enter in where your life is everyone's entertainment. And, I chose it, you know what I'm saying? I asked for it, and now that it's here, it's...
Yeah, it is what it is. It's got to be natural with it, right?
Too far to turn back down, so it's like, sheesh.
So while we're on the Long Way video, you mentioned a little bit how the inspiration for that video was the Chicago streets, summertime, family. Tell me about, the long way that it's been for you. And we've heard some of that history, but that came out in that song, and what that song means to you and to your family.
It means, it really, it really was just about, taking back a part of a memory, that just made me feel whole again. Everybody, I think most people's favorite line of that song is when I go, trust my fucking word, it go a long way. That's my nigga, man, I fuck with. Even when I performing at the shows, it's like everybody get it. Everybody had those friends that they grew up with because, as we all know, you can start off with a group of people. Today, 10 years down the line, you might only have 2, 3, maybe one of those people out their whole crew. Mm-hmm. So, you know what I'm saying? I think that line touched me and everybody else because everyone has that one friend where it's like, man, we've been through decades, with each other. Like, we experienced every level of friendship, from money to relationships, whether it's friendships or personal relationships and things like that. Been tested on all types of levels. Especially like my buddies, my homie Smitty, my right hand man, who's actually managed. When I say I experienced every level, with him, from big money to no money. Both being engaged and having our significant other not liking, like experience all that. So, what I'm saying? That song was more just, Long Way was really just for that one time, like you said, when all your buddies and family get together, you ain't worried about all that sad crap that you're going through. Right. Everybody pouring up, everybody drinking, smoking, having a good time, laughing and smiling. And then, that's what Long Way was about for me. It was just having a good time.
Performing, obviously, as an entertainer is something you're doing all the time. What does it feel like when you're performing, when you're Constant L Burts, when you're on the stage, when you're in the studio, when you're being interviewed?
Man, I feel like drugs. Like, it feels like...
You get that endorphin rush?
Feels like drugs. Like, and somebody listening, I'm like, oh, how you know it feel like drugs? He do drugs? Yeah, I lived a little... I experienced some things. And
it's legal in Illinois. Get off his back.
And that shit feels like drugs. Like,
just the recognition and the affinity and the warmth coming from it? Or?
It's really just the energy, man. I mean, you got to think from our perspective. Like, most of the times when we writing these songs, like we cooped up in some basement, or we in the room, or rather we in the studio, but we writing, from here, what I'm saying, and from here. So to actually lay that down, what you was feeling, and to play it and see a crowd of people do the same reaction as when you was writing it, that's the best feeling in the world. It's like I get a rush. I had these moments where I'm looking there in the crowd and I'm just, feeding off their energy. And it's times, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna see somebody, they giving me this look, and I'm just like, yeah, you feel this shit? I'm killing it. Ain't not. They're like, yeah, you fucking this shit up. I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking this shit up.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's that sense that you get just knowing, like, from human being to human being, like without even talking, you can feel this same message. Like, and that's what I love about performing. I think that's what I love about music at all.
Get them moving, get them out their seats, get them clapping.
It's like, I mean, who doesn't, like, the first time any artist probably told the crowd to do this and they did it. They probably lost their mind like I did. It was just like, oh, I got these superpowers. It's like, all right, let me do it again. All right, do this. You know, so it's just like, it's fun, man, to take what's, you know what I'm saying, trapped up here and to finally let it out. And to see other people's reaction in a positive way is the best feeling in the world.
So, and that's got to be a multi-step process where you just getting it out of your head on paper's got to feel amazing.
Exactly.
Then hitting the studio, recording it in the environment that you're going in, and then hearing it for the first time, how it came out in your head, and then performing. So, I mean, that's
all types of level of excitement. So it's like it's different types of excitement. Like there's times where I'm like, man, I'm excited to work on this song. There's times I'm like, damn, I'm excited to actually record this song. There's times when I'm like, before I even done writing the song, I got like a hook and maybe half of the verse, but I'm already 5 steps ahead. And I'm like, I need to finish it. I can't wait to perform this. It's gonna be crazy. Like, all right, like, can you finish the song first? Like, okay, yeah, I forgot. But but
about the second verse.
Yeah, it get like that, man. Like if you like, again, if you really love it, man, like you feel it, every part of it. You know what I'm saying? From writing into actually performing it, you're gonna feel every part of that energy.
And I think everybody gets nervous. As a performer, I assume you don't have stage fright, but is there a time where you had to overcome being comfortable on the stage, or a time that was particularly queasy in your gut?
I ain't gonna even sit here and flex like I still don't get those nerves. I wouldn't say stepping on stage is the part, you know what I'm saying, that's nervous, but a lot of times for me it's where I'm at and who's there, type of thing. I honestly think all artists still, no matter how big they get, you know, whether they hitting, you know, rock star status, you know, where I'm at, still fully trying to, you know what I'm saying, kick down the doors and get that foot in. I think nerves is always going to be there. It just, you know, what's causing those nerves, you know what I'm saying? Hopping on stage, obviously, and performing in front of, you know, people is it's not a nerve thing for me anymore. But a lot of times, if I find out certain individuals is there, you know what I'm saying, like good opportunity, yeah, I feel those nerves. Like,
sure.
Yeah, it'll kick in.
The scouts in the crowd.
Yeah, it'll kick in. Like, oh shit, it's like, who there? And I gotta talk myself out of it. It's like, hey, bro, he put his drawers on one leg at a time, just like right. You. He's like, all right, you right. Like, you right.
I want to change topics a little bit and talk about success and your definition of success. And everybody always references the overnight success, and really there is no overnight success, right? No. But you put in the work over time, and maybe there's a tipping point to that success where exactly. You hit mass. But what does success look like for Constant L Burts in the coming months, in the coming years?
If you ask me right now, at the rate I'm going, I'm already successful, and I'll be honest. It was at one point I remember being my cousin Smitty was sitting on the couch. We had got an apartment together, our first apartment. Man, we was poor as fuck. Poor. Like, stove didn't work, didn't have a working refrigerator. All we had was a fryer, a deep fryer, okay. And a microwave. We pretty much survived off that. No AC, no heat, like not over exaggerating. And I remember we went and got this little ugly ass couch, just flowers on it. It was like tan, one of those old grandma couch. And we were sitting there, and I looked at her, and I said, bro, you know what? I said, in the next 5 years, I bet we're gonna wake up, nice crib, we'll have a studio in the crib, we ain't gotta go nowhere, we're gonna have engineer, we're gonna have videographers, you know, we're gonna have a whole traveling team. And then I probably went there like 6 years. Man, Hill was hanging out in our new spot, sitting in a gym that we created. Turned the whole garage into a gym and created. And we sitting there drinking, and I was like, man, I said, remember I told you we was gonna wake up?
And you did it?
Yeah, you know, you just thought, but even at that time it hit me, I was like, man, like what I manifest is real. Like, If I manifest, if I believe in it and I trust in it, obviously I'm gonna have to my action is going to have to match, you know what I'm saying, my energy that I'm projecting, but it's going to happen. So, you know, if you ask me right now, yeah, I'm successful. You know, I got everything that I said I was going to do, and, you know, I'm going to continue to be more successful. Now I have other goals, you know what I'm saying, other things to play that I want to reach, and it's the same way. You manifest, you discipline yourself, you set small goals to meet those big goals, and you repeat it.
So talk a little bit about the fan and how they find music differently, and how you're out on so many different channels in order for them to find you. What type of active push are you given to introduce yourself to new fans, and other than guesting on Beast Beds and Browns?
Right.
Word.
I mean, I use every platform that, you know, most entertainers, you know, use today. You know, you got your Instagram, your Twitter, your social media. I don't think I have one that I just invest in. You know, everyone has their taste.
If I can go a little bit into who we're trying to appeal to, obviously the hip hop community, wide range. I think it was maybe 3 or 4 years back at Thalia Hall. It was the first time I was at a hip hop concert. It was Tokyo, Joey Perp, Chance, and a bunch of his guys came.
I know Tokyo. I know about Tokyo and Chance.
And it was 80% Caucasian kids.
Yeah.
And it was the first concert I'd ever been to that at least wasn't a 50-50, right? I know the transition had been coming, but that's part of it.
Yeah.
The other part, people who are connected to farming in some regard, whether it's a raised bed garden like I have out here, or whether it's a homestead farm,
right,
or people in the commercial ag industry.
Right.
With that crossover, you're going to see things. And then, of course, people that enjoy fine spirits and
you know what I'm saying?
Wide demographics. So.
You'd be surprised, like, you know, a lot of people don't realize how much they have in common, you know what I'm saying, with each other. And, you know, like you said, to answer your question, you know, like trying to appeal to, and it's, I don't have a certain crowd I try to, you know, appeal to. You know, it's, hey, I'm Burts. I'm about peace and love. I smoke hella weed. I drink. That's it. You know what I'm saying? If you're a farmer, I'm assuming you're gonna rock with me because I smoke weed. I have lots of growing questions for you. You know what I'm saying? If you ask me, everybody drink. You're either a weed smoker or you're a drinker. I don't believe when nobody say I don't smoke weed or I don't drink. Okay, then you doing hard drugs. Ain't nobody living in 2021 surviving a pandemic without no weed or without drinking or without both. And if they tell you not, walk away, because they doing some other shit that you don't want to be doing with them.
They go to the darker arts.
So, you know what I'm saying? And even if you come to my shows, you know, and please forgive me, but you know what I'm saying, this is just how my homies is back home in Chicago. You know, they come to the shows, they be like, hey, Burts, man, all these white people here to see you. I'm like, bro, it's music, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, you can, like you said, you meet somebody who's a farmer, and you would never know they probably listen to something like 2 Chainz or Drake. You know, you just can't judge off, you know what I'm saying, what a person does that makes them happy. You know what I'm saying, what they choose to do for a hobby.
Absolutely.
You know, we all got brains. We all have choices to be open-minded. You know what I'm saying? Some people take the opportunity, some people don't. So, you know, regardless of your background, I think music is that one thing that can bring people together.
Niggas don't dream no more. Yeah. Couple pair of J's, I see niggas go broke. Faith don't exist when the nigga hood famous. Ignorance is so contagious, then again it's entertaining. No Lord. Niggas don't dream.
How do you stay up on music? And who are you listening to? Or are you the opposite, where you just shut out all the external and just go with what's in your head?
I get told I should listen and stay in tune a lot more than I should. I do tune out, and that's just because, in my opinion, like, most of the stuff now is not even about music no more. I don't care who shot who. I don't care who said what. I don't care who tweet about what. And that's mostly what it is nowadays when you're trying to tune. It's like it's a lot more acting than dropping music now. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
When we was coming up, you know what I'm saying, that was the biggest thing we looked forward to, was an album, an artist dropping a new project. You know, we was rushing, you know, obviously things changed, but like, yeah, we rushed to the stores when the CDs drop, you know, things like that, you know, try to get it off line. And back then, artists was consistent with their drops too. Now you get artists, they'll drop an album, they'll disappear, you know, become a politician, stay in drama, come back, drop another album. So that is automatic turn off for me. You know, I probably listen to a lot more underground and up and coming than mainstream. And I guess with me, it's just because the mainstream artists is like, you know, I'll catch it when I hear it, but it's like NBA players. It's like college basketball players. They play their hearts out.
Right.
They get to the NBA, they get rich. Not saying they're not good anymore, they're not that best, but you can tell that drive, they're not that same person no more. And the same with these music artists. They come in, they hungry. You know what I'm saying? When they first breaking through, we love them because of the energy and the consistency they give us. And then fame comes, you know, something I don't understand yet, you know what I'm saying? But I that's why I pray, you know, I keep good people around me, you know what I'm saying, to keep me grounded. But, you know, people get a taste of the fame and, you know what I'm saying, they get the money and they forget their job. They forget their job, bro.
Well, they forget who they are and where they came from.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
how do you know, you're on your 100-foot yacht. How are you going to rap about life in the streets?
Yeah.
I assume there's not a 100-foot yacht in the streets. Yeah. It's tough to stay connected as you grow as a person unless you're spending time there.
That's why I think if any artist in the game should have something just to keep them grounded. Like me personally, I have a whole like collection, like whole folder of just screenshots. Every time someone comments on my social media or my YouTube or blog or whatever, you know, hey, you inspire me, hey, you this and that, I screenshot it. Because a lot of time, and I can see why a lot of artists get the way they get, you know. When I get to those moments where that artificial life is kind of like sinking in a little too much, I got to humble myself. So I got to go back and remind myself what I was doing it for. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of artists forget that. Like, you know what I'm saying? They hit a certain level, you know what I'm saying, of fame, and they forget how many people they actually saved or how many people they actually inspired, you know what I'm saying? Man, it just becomes a whole runway show, if you ask me. Who looked the flyest, who slamming who chick, like who, that's one thing I hate about it. Oh, slamming his chick. Well, bro, somebody slamming your chick. Like, no, it's a circle. Like, I want to get back to the point with music, especially hip hop, where we bragging and we talking about something that's worth bragging and talking about.
Knowledge, intelligence, legacy. Yeah.
Exactly, bro.
That's the stuff I navigate toward. You know, it's good for a head nodder every now and again, but you find that deeper meaning and it really touches. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about influence. I know we talked a little bit about your upbringing, and I'm sure there's some influence there, but outside of music, what are some influences that you go to or that stay with you?
My surroundings. I would definitely say I'm one of those, but my surrounding is my biggest influence. I never had celebrity influence. Like, I never had, like, I had rappers that, you know, I admire, you know what I'm saying, listen to a lot and respect, but I can't say that, oh, they influenced me, you know, made me want to, you know, people like my mom, like my sister, seeing them set goals and accomplishment, my father, my little brother, my team, you know, those are my biggest influencers. I mean, when you actually know somebody and a personal situation and you see them overcome that, like just every time, I'm gonna set this goal and they just beating the fuck out that goal every time, like no match. That's the drive I need, you know what I'm saying? That's that, oh, I see you. Like, okay, let me get my success going. Like, you know, versus I just can't. It's hard for somebody who's already, in my eyes, quote unquote, established to influence me. You know, it's, hey, congrats, you did it, and now we trying to get ours. So nothing you do is inspiring me to go twice as hard. I'm sorry, it's not, because, you know, you set your own pace. Yeah, you already there. I'm trying to get to where you at. So, you know what I'm saying? So definitely mine is within the ones that's around me.
I know you said you don't get influenced by performers per se, but was there anything, like you saw that one concert or you saw that one guy and you knew, I wanted to be like him.
Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Okay.
The first time, my first concert ever, too. So not only was my first concert ever, and it was for one of my favorite, you know what I'm saying?
Where was it at? Do you remember?
Rap crew at the time. I can't remember what. It was in Chicago. I can't remember what venue.
I remember a lot of those concert details get fuzzy. I don't know why.
It was I just remember my sister and her friends were going. It was one of those situations where, you know, they do, like, everyone that knew me at the time when I was young, that's like Bone Thugs and Harmony was just like, those my dudes, like, you know what I'm saying? I want to be in Bone Thugs and Harmony. I want to get signed, but I was like, they just had a style that was just dope to me. So, you know, my sister ended up being the dopest big sister. She always been in my life. She ended up taking me, and I remember just seeing him Crazy Bone. He didn't even have his hair in a fro at the time. He had a big old knife on stage. His hair was laid down like he had a perm or something. And, you know, Lazy Bone, he had his hair out in the fro. The rest of them had their hairs out in the fro. And I remember just sitting there. One of my sister's friends, he had me like on his shoulders. So I remember just sitting there looking, and I remember locking in with Crazy Bone. He was just rapping. He was just looking dead at me. I just felt my heart pumping. I was just like, oh no. I was like, yeah, this is it. Because at that time in my head, I was like, I could do that. I could eat this motherfucker up right now. I could do it. And it was that concert, that moment where it was just like, yo, I got home and
started writing? Or had you been writing before that?
Like, no, man, yeah. Like, but it was like intense at that time. It was just like, okay, this shit was fun, but I was like, nah, this shit is like, again, at a young age, I know what drug was. She was like, drug. It was just like, it was a rush. It was like, man, that felt good. So
I'm a big believer in like influential moments, and I don't think oftentimes you can be in the moment and realize it's influencing you, like happened here. But you look back, yeah, that's where this idea came from, and it evolved, and like that was where I knew at that point.
But you know what? I think those moments are still there. I think people just take those moments for granted. You know, I mean, I put it to you this way. You know, I had a show in Fort Wayne. I mean, not Fort Wayne. Another event I did before Fort Wayne, and somebody was like, "Man, you ain't." I heard it was lit. Like, you ain't go live, share videos and pictures. And I was in a moment. I didn't care about who saw this shit. Like, I saw it, you know, and it just like going back to my first concert, Bone Thugs Harmony. I got to enjoy that moment and remember that moment because I actually enjoyed it. I wasn't spending time trying to show someone else my moment. You know what I'm saying? When you have a moment, you ain't thinking about sharing anything. You lost. You living in it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think those moments are still there. I think people just need to be a little bit more, you know what I'm saying, open, you know, when those moments happen and actually embrace it, because sometimes it's not meant to be shared.
Fair enough. All right. So here's the most engaging segment that our fans are going to love. We're hoping, and what it is hard hitters and wig splitters. We're going to rapid fire give you a chance to answer questions that you know are at the hearts and wills of our audience. So
okay.
Think quickly, top of your head. Don't think too much into this.
Okay.
Hopefully it's fun. Hopefully it tells us a little bit about you and represents a little bit about hip hop, Chicago, all that. So
okay.
All right. Beef or no beef?
Beef.
Cash or Queens?
Queens.
Big black truck or 6'4"?
Big black truck.
Edibles or flour?
Both.
Both. I like it. Tupac or Biggie?
Pac.
Bears or Colts?
Bears.
Nice. As painful as it is, I agree with you.
Yeah. It is very painful. Chicago or nothing, unfortunately, but
nice. Nike or Champion?
Nike.
Cubs or Sox?
Cubs. I'm getting beat up for that, by the way. I'm from the South Side.
Oh, yeah.
You finna get me jumped as soon as I touch back down.
I tell you, you know, when I was living in the city as a single guy, I'd get asked that question, I'd always answer it Bears.
Bro, man, you better off being a gang member.
Yeah.
Cubs or White Sox.
Well,
Bloods.
It's been nice knowing you, Burts.
Fuck. You be whack out here.
All right, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yes.
Ketchup or no ketchup?
No ketchup.
Hot or mild?
Hot.
Jordan or LeBron?
Jordan.
Ellen or Oprah?
Oprah.
Marvel or DC?
DC.
Bezos or Musk?
Musk.
Jardinier or Jardinera?
Jardinier.
All right, and wrapping it up, vanilla or chocolate?
Are you talking about women?
I'm talking about whatever you want. I like it. Go. And now we're going to do a little gardening. And you got a chance to be documented for our Ask a Soil Scientist segment. You said you mentioned things about dirt, but what we're going to do is leave you with a little parting gift. And you've selected the green jalapeno. So 1, 2, 3 cups for you and your guys. And we're just going to fill these up, push some seeds in. I'll get the squirt can. And you can go to town. And you'll have to, of course, report on the growth as these grow at...
Is that enough? Did I do that right?
Yeah, fill it up. Go ahead.
Okay.
There's no...
You gotta put that up on the top for when you do this right here. That's cool, man.
Oh, well... We're good for now.
I don't get a lot, I'm from the hood. I don't want to overstay my welcome. You get greedy.
Not at all, man. You're doing great. All right. And so here, these are green jalapeno seeds that we saved from last year. Go ahead and pull those out. So you can just grab a handful in each cup, push them down about 1/4 of an inch, and we'll give those a spray.
Hey, look, Mom, I'm planting something legal.
Yeah, you can carry these across state lines with no trouble.
I'm good. So I just do it like that.
No, that's perfect. This is what I love about gardening is
like
there's
that.
literally no way you can mess this up. You put it in dirt, keep it moist, and
So basically, you said if I mess this up, something wrong.
keep it living. All right, and make sure that's nice and moist without tipping it like I almost did. Was that too tight? Here, let's see.
Yeah, quit setting me up for these jokes, bro. I'm trying to be professional.
There we go.
There it is.
And let's push those down a little bit. What do we got here? Perfect. Get those under the ground. And give it 7 to 14 days. I'd do some daily sprinkles on this.
Okay.
And before long, you'll have, I'll show you what success will look like here. You'll have something pop up like that.
Okay, right on.
And then when these get too big, you can transfer them into either a bigger pot like this or into the ground somewhere.
Right.
Full sun for peppers. And 2.5 months or so, you'll be getting some of the most delicious peppers, hot peppers
I'm
out of
all
the ground
for
that
it.
you'll ever have. So
I'm all for it.
that is much appreciation, man. I appreciate you coming out.
Thank you.
I had a lot of fun
Thank you for
talking to you and learning about your path as an artist and your journey, and couldn't be happier that you decided to share some time with us today.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Like I said, y'all stay in tune with the kid. That's Constant L Burts, Constant. Google me.